This is Spencer George's demonstration speech, and here's my audience with 3 more FaceTime. Take this. Okay, so I'm sure that everyone here listening to me has played video games at least once in their life. Okay, everyone here has played video games at least once in their life, and what a lot of people don't really know about is the subgenre of video games, which are competitive fighters. And that's something that I have been interested in for years, ever since when I was a child. I played with my cousins a lot, the Super Smash Brothers games, and we had a lot of fun with those, and that led me to play games like Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat and other competitive games, and that's led to me having a deep love for them and a deep knowledge too. So they can be pretty complicated, but I'm going to give you all a simple explanation of how they work, the basic mechanics of the game and the rules. So, although all fighting games are different, almost all of them have 2 players that are competing against each other, and there's attacks which do damage, and it damages their health. Each player has some kind of health, and they try and deplete the other player's health.
Nice.
And the player that loses their health first loses. So fighting games are similar to a lot of mind games like chess and checkers, where it's purely a game of thought and predicting what your opponent will do. But it's also a game of skill, and they introduce that mechanic of skill through what's called inputs. So an input is when on a controller you say press a button or you move a control stick, and that causes something in the game to happen. And inputs in fighting games can be very difficult to do on purpose. It can be things like moving a stick a quarter circle forward and pressing a specific button to do an action. And that's there so that people have skill requirements to play the game. So it's a lot like a real fight, not just a mental fight. You still have to predict what your opponent will do, but there's also a skill barrier in being able to input the moves correctly and do moves in order correctly.
Right, yeah. Gotcha.
A lot of the mechanics in the game are very similar to a rock, paper, scissors game, such as in Smash Brothers, there's attacks, blocks, and grabs, and blocking beats attacks, grabbing beats blocking, and attacks beat grabbing. But it's not always that simple, and often there's a rock, paper, scissors-like system, but it might have 9 or 10 different things to choose from, and certain things beat other things, and is constantly having to predict what your opponent will do, while also making sure that you're inputting everything right. So these things may seem difficult and they may seem very complicated, and they are to an extent, but once you understand the core mechanics of the game and how to play it, it actually becomes very fun. And I know a lot of people who dedicate a lot of their time, a lot of their life just to playing this entire genre of games, and they love it, and they love the feeling of competition. And it feels a lot like a real fight often, because it's really a test of skill, and when you get to go up against your own friends, it creates a really fun environment. So I hope that through this speech you understand why people like me and my friends enjoy the genre of fighting games, and why I might talk about it so much, and why I find it so enjoyable. And this speech used sources from techtips.com.